college students can make a significant impact in the 2020 general election. This is a time for bold measures. This is the country, and you are the generation. Bono. This quote accurately emphasizes the recent change in voter turnout in the recent elections. The one variable group to have an increase in voter turnout since 2012 is the Generation Z age group, which includes college-age voters. This part of the electorate continues to grow exponentially with the power to change the course of local, state, and federal elections for years to come. It has the potential to hold a very persuasive bargaining power with the elected officials when it comes to issues that matter to college students. If all college students voted in this upcoming election, we could be the ones to decide the trajectory of our country. College-age students have been getting more and more advanced in the voting process every election cycle. According to a study in the New York Times in 2014, the number of college-age voters more than doubled. Of the 10 million students eligible to vote in the 2014 midterm elections, 20% turned out the vote. Still, this number was insignificant compared to the other demographic voting groups, as it made up 20% of the total voter turnout that year. However, 2018 saw another significant increase in college voters. Over 40% of college-age students voted in the 2018 midterm elections, which was the largest voter turnout in 30 years. For example, Florida State University had just over 1,000 students vote in 2014, reported a 200% increase over 3,000 students who turned out to vote in 2018. Similar college voting numbers were reported in other states and universities in 2018. For example, in Texas, college student voters helped narrow the gap between Democratic candidate Beto O'Rourke and Republican Ted Cruz. The difference in who won that Senate race came down to just 2 percentage points. Ted Cruz won with 50.8% of the vote compared to O'Rourke's 48.3%. This is significant because Texas is a state that always boasts a large Republican win, so the fact that a race came so close to being lost based on the vote of the college student demographic was an eye-opener to those who had previously ignored the impact of this voting group. Likewise, in Nevada, Democrats turned a Senate seat from Republican to Democrat with the help of the college student vote. That was overwhelmingly Democratic. According to a poll taken by Axios, 57% of Democratic college students said that they were voting in the 2018 midterm election, compared to just 40% of the Republican college students. So what was so significant about 2018? In short, the presidential election 2 years prior. When asked what affected their decision to vote in 2018, college students were very clear. The Trump presidency and other issues like mass school shootings, such as the one in Parkland, Florida, were major issues that affected their decision to vote. Now that the 2020 election is upon us, college students are turning out like never before in modern history. In an NBC News poll, 70% of college students stated that they were planning on voting in this election. If this number is accurate, it will be almost double the turnout of the 2018 midterms. Based on early voting numbers, there appears to be truth in this NBC poll. Voteology is a movement that began after the 2016 election to get out the college vote. They had a goal of reaching 500,000 college-age students by the election day of 2020. As of today, 500,000 more college students have voted in early voting than they did in 2016, with many of those votes being in key swing states. So it appears the movement to inspire college students to vote is working. Another reason the college student age group is becoming more prominent is simply because of the large shift in demographics. Simply put, older people die, which makes room for the younger generation. For the first time in decades, college-age voters are poised to replace the baby boomer generation as a more prominent voting group in the next 10 years. Right now, boomers account for 3 in 10 of the total voters. This number is down from where it was 20 years ago, when this group accounted for 7 of the 10 total voters. This shows that boomers are on their way out as the dominant voting group, just based on the natural order of things. College-age voters age 18 to 23 represent 1 in 10 of all voters. That means in 10 to 20 years, boomers will be out and the current generation will be in regards to leading voter group. In addition, more than 15 million students have turned 18 since 2016 general election. That is a potential 15 million more votes thrown into the mix who were not a concern 4 years ago. All of this data shows that college students can make a significant impact in our country's elections. So, Morton College students, imagine what you can do with your vote. Get to the polls and make your voice heard. We have the power to control the electorate if we all show up and make our presence known at the polls. The statistics show there is strength in our numbers. We can make sure the laws and policies that affect our lives for generations to come are decided by us and not by those who are out of touch with the matters to our demographic.